Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ILG Cup Season 3 WCC Rivals Online Tournaments. I'm Shadeslayer and I'll be a caster for this game. We have Dugar versus SGDA. SGD, I think both these players, in fact, have been champions previously of online tournaments in ILG Cup. So it's going to be a good head-to-head here in the semi-final matchup. SGDA, of course, is going to be the clear favorite and has the upper hand going into this game. Has a lot more experience, a lot more SR as well than Dugar, but we've seen previously it is very momentum based in these 2 over matchups, and if you can get a decent enough total up on the board and your opponent ends up missing out on a couple of opportunities, things do start to become a lot dicier. For people who are tuning in, welcome. This is ILG Cup WCC Rivals online tournaments. It will go on till the end of this week. So if you haven't registered and want to join in, it is free to register, free to play. Link is in the description. We have a quick change in field settings. As we're going to see the standard field set for shots behind the wicket. It is going to be SGDA to open things up. Left, in fact, right arm batsman. Left arm around the wicket to open things up. Slow ball, but he manages to get it over the infield. One bounce towards deep mid wicket. And SGDA opens things up with the boundary. Good ball. Does end up getting a little tricky, especially when it is a slow one. Timing is a key, but oh, that's nicely placed. Straight behind the wicket keeper, as I believe that was just a slight nudge. Using the pace of the ball, helping it on its way towards another boundary. 8 of 2. SGDA off to a decent start. Dugar goes for the in-swinger. Another slow ball, and it's going to meet the exact same treatment as the first ball did. Twice now that he's gone for change of pace. And both times SGDA has been able to read it perfectly. Quick change of field. And is going to move almost all fieldsmen inside the boundary on the offside. Oh, he swept that. Very fine indeed. In fact, I believe that was swept past the off stump towards fine leg. That was how close that was. An unconventional shot, but it does yield the results. 4 more added to the total. Behind the stumps again. Should be a boundary. Didn't get it off the middle of the bat, but he got it so fine that fine leg still couldn't make it across. You see the sad smiley go out from Dugar. It's a good start for the batting side. SGDA, last ball of the first over. It's an outswinger and he's got it fine again. 6 balls, 6 boundaries, 24 of the first over. And Dugar, I believe he is going to continue with pace, but he's gone for right arm. Going up against a left-hander. Let's see if they change things up a little. Might just look to tease him outside the off stump this time around. Yeah, in fact, he's going to go wide, but he's compensated for it. And this time doesn't manage to get it very fine though. Fine leg cuts it off this time, manages to get back for the 2. And looks like he's going to decide to go over the wicket. A change in approach. It's an in-swinger. And this time it is kind of a hit on the leg side. Another 2 added to the total. Dugar has done really well in terms of adjusting himself to the approach that SGDA has taken thus far, and he's managed to stem the bleeding a little. 4 of the first 2, but as I say that, he gives him a nice juicy short ball, pummels that through the offside field, straight to the boundary rope. Looking at the array of shots, a lot of shots behind. There was from the first over, and the second over you've seen a lot ahead. He's going to decide to go wide outside the off stump again. Makes room, and he manages to get it again over extra cover. 2 more boundaries added. 36 with 2 balls to go. Soft nudge of the pads. A fine leg should cut it off, and they're going to be able to scramble back for 2. Quick between the wickets, and he managed to get back in time. 38 with last ball incoming from Dugar. SGDA is going to be looking to get himself over that 40 mark, and he manages to do so. Right in the middle of the bat, comes dancing down the track, and it goes all the way. It's a huge 6, in fact. 44 the total, and Dugar is gonna need 45. It's gonna be a hard chase coming up ahead. 22.5 runs per over required. And Dugar is going to start off left arm over the wicket to the left-hand batsman. It's going to start off with the standard field setting that Dugar did go for as well. In fact, it's going to move over around the wicket. This is going to be interesting. He's going to try and bowl a body line in swinger. There you go. But a beautiful shot. The pull shot executed to perfection. And Dugar gets the best possible start that he could have hoped for. It's a massive 6 off the first ball, and that should kind of set the pace for Dugar if he is to make this a successful one. A short ball coming in again. Pull shot, very fine. Top edge goes to the boundary rope. And SGDA has probably got a couple of things to worry about now. He needs a lot more variation. He's pretty much done what Dugar did during his bowling performance, and Dugar knows exactly how to handle it. The exact same shots played as SGDA at the start of the innings, and immediately you see him go for that switch up. The body line he knows is not working out, so he's going to go back to over the wicket. He's going to still continue to bowl short. He's compensated for it with a lot of space. And it was grossly mistimed there. He should be able to pick up 2 regardless. 16 of 4. What's the play here for Dugar? SGDA going with an outswinger, and he's still gonna be able to find that gap. Does get the loft shot in. 1 bounce. Comfortably beats the player at fine leg. Last ball of the innings. Last ball of the first over, rather. Dugar. And another top edge. Another boundary. And SGDA, if he wasn't worried thus far, I'm sure he is right now. This is tough. He's got a lot of treatment behind the wicket from the left-hand batsman, all towards fine leg. So there's a cause for concern as Dugar, right-hand batsman, continues to do the exact same thing. And it does look like SGDA doesn't really have the solution to this. The batsman has been able to comfortably keep doing the same thing again and again. And it's come down to 17 of 5 required. It's not as hard anymore. Towards the pads, and he's going to go straight down the wicket. There is, of course, a long off that's going to come and cut it off. 2 runs added. This is a very well-timed shot, but unfortunately, there was a fielder in position for that exact same play. 15 of 4. A boundary required of every single ball. He's going to go straight, and mid-on is going to get beat. 2 bounces. He finds the first 4. He needs 3 more of this. 11 of 3 required. This is going down to the wire. Dugar has batted wonderfully thus far. Let's see if he can close things out. He's going to go for a pseudo short ball, but the timing's not great. Down to fine leg. So that's going to be 2 more added. A very good throw, in fact. It's going to prevent any sort of a run-out attempt. But 9 required of 2. He can go for still 2 boundaries and tie this, or he needs to find a 6. Around the wicket, he comes in and a beautiful delivery. Smacks Dugar rather in the tummy. Ooh, that was well bowled. Starves him for room. He was trying to work it through the offside. Completely misses it. Last ball of the innings. This is it. He's going to find the fieldsman. Come back for 2. And with that, SGDA takes the victory. A wonderful chase coming in from Dugar at the end. Ends up a little bit short. That dot ball hurt him. He had to go for the big ones. Couldn't find the boundaries when needed in that final over. And SGDA moves on to the grand finals. 350 rupees to the winner on the line. Don't go anywhere. This is Shea Slayer. We will be back shortly with the finals. See you folks soon.
want you to myself. Oh, I just want you to myself. When we go out, we don't get far, 'cause everybody knows your name. They stop to.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back for the grand finals. It is SGDA versus Rudra. It's gonna be another cracker of a match. SGDA, despite getting 44 on the board in that semi-final match, it did look very tricky at the end. Dugar, especially getting 24 runs up in the first over, did look like he was well and truly on his way to be able to chase that down. 21 of the last over, but it came down to him not being able to find the boundary on a couple of occasions. In fact, that dot ball, 9 required of 2, I think pretty much was the nail in the coffin, as SGDA will eventually take that victory, but another test awaits up against Rudra in the finals. It is, of course, goal lobby settings that we're using, default settings as well, so no player upgrades, no boosts allowed. 2 overs, winner walks away with INR 350. SGDA will bat first. Rudra, left arm pace over the wicket to the right hand batsman. It's going to start things off with an outswinger, and that is timed to perfection. Between cover and extra cover. Right up the middle of the bat, goes straight into the stands. And SGDA always gets off to such good starts. Second time around, oh, the slow in swinger. Completely beats Rudra there. SGDA rather. SGDA did face a lot of slow balls when he did go up against Dugar. But the difference being, this time around, there was a change in line as well. That was a very nice in-swinger, completely beats the inside edge. SGDA rather compensates back, finds himself a boundary, and he continues to swing away. This time deep backward point with a desperate dive. Not going to be able to stop it from reaching the boundary yet again. 14 of 4. Good start to the finals here for SGDA in swinger. And he's going to go very fine there indeed. Easily able to beat the player at fine leg. It's going to go wide outside the off stump, but it's pitched up. And SGDA swings his arms straight over deep extra cover. A 6 to close out the first over, and that should be the total back to 24 if I'm not mistaken. And contrast to what we've seen previously, that is runs all around. Not just towards fine leg. We saw shots towards fine leg, towards third man, twice over extra cover, and ooh, he gets smacked. I believe that was a little too high. Yeah, he did get hit in the tummy there. So, not really sure why they would go for a review, which rightfully Rudra didn't. But a dot ball regardless. Outswinger, and oh, that strikes him. 2 dot balls picked up by Rudra, and all of a sudden now SGDA, his good work from their first over almost undone right now. Rudra straight back into this. Another ball in, another swing and a miss. One for the over called. And right, I think Rudra might have lag there for a second. But that was close. That is 3 dot balls now. Alright, we're gonna jump straight to the score at 30. 2 more balls to go. A good shot down. The fielder's coming across. Yeah, he's gonna be able to cut that out. Throw back across. Last ball of the innings. SGDA on 32. He needs a big one. A 6 here and he's gonna be a lot more safer, but he only manages to find the 2 as he nudges the ball down to find leg. There it is, 34, the total 35 to win for Rudra. It is very even, Stevens, but I do give Rudra the slight edge here. 35, not a very tough target to chase down, especially if you can manage 20 runs of the first over. I think you're in a very good position to close things out. Then again, SGDA has got a lot of experience under his belt. And batting second almost always isn't easy. There's just so much added pressure on you to find the runs. He's going to start off bowling around the wicket to the right-hand batsman. And surprisingly, no third man. So that is going to indicate he's going to be bowling a lot more on the pads. In swinger is hit up and just about beats fine leg. Did go dangerously close to getting caught. But Rudra finds the boundary. 31 required of 11 balls. He makes room and he's able to find that gap between cover and extra cover. Was hit on the up. A risky shot, but as long as the placement's that good, he's gonna be in a safe spot. So 8 of 2. He's gonna go back to bowling towards the pads. This time's not hit very fine, so should just be the 2. Ten of the first 3. And he's going to continue to bowl this line, because if he ends up shying outside, and there's the roommate, he's going to hit this on the offside. There's a big open gap there. All fielders inside the boundary rope. There's deep backward point and long off. That entire array of space between them is wide open. And as long as Rudra can keep making these gaps, he can keep hitting them. But this time he decides to let it go. That's not a wide. That's a dot ball. It flies over the leg stump. I think he was expecting it to not deviate as much. He makes room towards the offside, and yeah, that is hit well. Not sure why Rudra changed up his approach there in that 5th ball, but 18 runs on the first over. He's halfway there. He needs 17 of 6 balls here to take the victory. SGDA is going to stick with right arm pace, and looks like he's going to continue to bowl from around the wicket. He makes room in outswinger, and he's going to find the boundary rope of the first ball. A couple of these shots have been very close, especially towards deep backward point, but he hasn't been able to stop this. And you can see a lot of runs coming in on the offside, despite bowling from around the wicket. And that should be the fielder cutting it off. No, it was just hit too well. And all of a sudden now 9 required of 4 balls. The target got a lot easier for Rudra. He hasn't changed things up much. He's going to continue with in-swingers. It's going to be hit down to fine leg. And he manages to only get the 1. That was timed very well. It raced towards fine leg, so wasn't able to scramble back for 2. 8 required of 3. He needs a dot ball somewhere here, SGDA. There you go. That is again timed really well. So it's going to be only the single. 7 of 2. And all of a sudden now it's a lot harder for Rudra. SGDA manages to find just 2 runs given away of 2 balls, making things a lot more interesting. He's going to make space, and that's going to go all the way. Over cover, all the way for a 6, and the scores are tied. 1 run required for Rudra off the last ball to win this. All the fielders make their way inside the inner ring. And he's going to go over the wicket. What's the ball? He's going to bowl wide outside the off stump, and that's a shot. Over mid-wicket, it's going to bounce towards the boundary rope. Rudra takes the win. What an amazing chase. 35 runs when those 2 dot balls came in. Not dot balls specifically, but he managed to get only 2 runs of those 2 balls. Bringing it down to 7 required of 2. Was very close at the end, but a huge 6. Eased up the pressure for Rudra to take the win. Congratulations. He is your champion and will walk away with the INR 350. Shout out to SGD as well. What a wonderful performance throughout the tournament. Thank you so much for all the viewers who tuned in. This is Shade Slayer signing off. See you folks tomorrow for more WCC Rivals action live from ILG Cup Season 3. Until then, goodbye, good night.